In this video, I'm going to be answering some of the most asked questions about product management. Questions like, what exactly is a product manager? What do they do? What is a day in the life of a product manager? How competitive is it? How can I become a product manager? I'll also be sharing my unique story into product management and how I was able to break into tech. Before we get started, one thing to keep in mind is I'm going to be talking about product management from my perspective. Product management means different things at different companies. That's why when you take a course about product management, it's very generic, it covers the basics. And that's because at each company, it's completely different. Well, maybe not completely different, but it's different. It's like you have to relearn the role at every company. I am a B2B product manager in healthcare. I work at a startup company with about 50 employees, and I've been working there for about a year. I've also interned as a product manager in other companies that are bigger and have had experience and support as well in the tech industry. Your experience is probably going to be different than mine, unless you worked at a startup in healthcare, which would be a wild coincidence. All right, so let's talk about the first question. What the crap is a product manager? From my experience, a product manager is like the quarterback of the dev team. That might seem a little arrogant because the quarterbacks get all the glory, but hear me out. A product manager leads their team, they call audibles, and they try to make everything run smoothly. They are not the coach, which means they're not in charge, and no one really reports to them. They always need to listen first and understand what their team can and can't do. They also need to be aware of the team's needs and see if they can help them with that. Also, you get all of the heat when things go wrong. So if you release a product and it goes terribly, that's on you. A product manager is usually put in charge of a single product. For example, at my current job, I am over the website that shows reports to private equity groups. At bigger companies, you usually work on smaller products. The reason that my product is the entire website is because it's a smaller company. This is a bigger company, I might just be working on, let's say, the reports view page, or maybe the user management feature. It could be different things. As a product manager, your main task is to make sure your team builds the right thing for the customer. The right thing could be a feature that increases ROI, restructuring the architect of the software, or fixing bugs that users hate. It's your job to find the highest value feature to build/fix and make sure your team is on board. Now you're probably asking yourself, how do I figure out what the right thing to build is? I can make an entire video on this topic. It's one of the main problems that a product manager runs into. But the short answer is communicate with your stakeholders. Now, a stakeholder could be anyone. A stakeholder could be the CEO, it could be the sales team, it could be support, it could be your customers. You need to talk to all of your stakeholders and have constant communication and feedback loops in order to understand what the right thing is to build. You also need to really understand when to say no. You're going to be given so many different features. And as a product manager, one of the most important words that you can learn is no. Now, your day will be filled with meetings because you're trying to meet with all these different stakeholders and understand what they want and what they don't want. Listen to them and do your research on if you should build it or not. All right, now let's talk about what a product manager does and what a day in the life is of a product manager. So if we just talk about product management for myself, my day varies wildly depending on what needs to be done. Some of the things I do regularly are updating and prioritizing the product backlog, meeting with customers to test new features, finding bugs on our main site and talking to the developers about it, meeting with marketing to determine how we're going to release the next feature, holding trainings for support and account management about new features that we've just released, and a bunch of other stuff. One thing that's always going to be constant is you're going to be in a ton of meetings. From my description, you can see that a product manager has to wear a ton of different hats. I love this diagram that shows all the many different hats that a product manager has to wear and the things that they have to do. At different points, you'll be a scientist running tests and seeing how users interact with your website. You'll be a detective trying to determine what problems users are running into, a psychologist to empathize with your customers, a director to tell a very compelling product story. That's another thing that product managers need to be really good at, is storytelling. But that's probably a topic for another video. And there's more, as you can tell from the list. You wear a lot of hats and more or less need to be a generalist and not a specialist. You need to wear a lot of hats. And that's more or less your days. It just kind of depends on the needs of your product and the feature that you're working on. You're going to be in the research phase, you're going to be in the building phase, you're going to be planning, you're going to be doing a ton of stuff, and you have to be organized. That's part of being a product manager. Anyways, with the day in the life out of the way, let's talk about what a product manager's salary is. Now, obviously, it depends on where you live and your experience. I'm in Utah, and the base pay range is between 70 to 100K starting out, and it just goes up from there. If you look at levels.fyi, you can see the base income of a product manager in your location. You can also filter by entry-level salaries to get a better idea. Glassdoor is also a great resource for salaries. You can filter based on the experience level you're at on Glassdoor and also the location as well. So Glassdoor is a great option as well. How competitive is it? Yes, it's competitive. For every 10 dev jobs, there's one product management job open. I actually looked up how many developers there were in the United States on the interwebs, which is always right, apparently. And there's 4.4 million developers in the United States, and there's 44,000 product managers. So in all reality, for every 100 software developer jobs, software engineering jobs, there is one product management job open. So yeah, it's competitive. Also, if you look at LinkedIn and look at job openings, for every product management job that's entry level, it requires 3 years of experience, which is interesting. Or you need an MBA or a computer science degree, stuff like that. The good news is product management jobs usually highly prioritize experience over other things, which leads us to the next question. How can I become a product manager? I would say your best route at becoming a product manager is through experience. Whether your experience comes from you trying to launch an app on the App Store and talking to customers about it, or if it comes from an internship, that is going to be your best bet. Getting a more technical degree is helpful, but not necessarily mandatory. I got my degree in information systems management, which is the best degree. That degree teaches technical skills like programming, data analytics, machine learning, and data communications. It also teaches business skills like accounting, finance, marketing, economics, etc. It is a fantastic degree for product management. I also know other product managers who've gotten their degrees in chemistry, mechanical engineering, and finance. So it really is open to all majors. If you want to learn more about becoming a product manager, I can make an entire video on this specific topic. Just shoot me a comment, like the video, and I'll make sure to make another video about that. So in short, if you want to become a product manager, you just need experience. So do something in the software industry, whether it's use no-code tools to build an app, launch it to the App Store, and try to get users to use it. I will say start with the problem and then work on the solution if you're going to do this. Or if you're in a role right now, like sales, marketing, any role, really, try to start utilizing product management principles so that you can start putting on your resume that, yes, I prioritize the backlog in my support role, or, I worked really closely with product managers in my marketing role and I was able to help them do X, Y, and Z. Just try to get experience as a product manager, and that will really help you with competition. So let's talk about my journey into product management. When I graduated from high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life. I don't really feel like anyone does. You're probably in the same boat, or maybe you're already in a career that you don't super love. I started out wanting to be a physical therapist. I really liked the classes. I loved learning about sports medicine. I thought biology was really cool, hated chemistry, but every other class was really cool. The problem is the more research I did into physical therapy, the more I didn't like it. If you want to become a physical therapist, nothing wrong with that, but you do have to go into a substantial amount of debt. For my research, it was between $100,000 and $150,000. Going into that much debt and then coming out of physical therapy school, only making between $70,000 and $90,000 a year didn't seem too appealing to me. I also shadowed a bunch of physical therapists, which I would recommend shadowing anyone who is doing the career that you want to, just so you can see what it is like in a day-to-day experience. But I shadowed a physical therapist, and I did not like how patients treated them. I remember one day when I was shadowing a physical therapist, I was helping an elderly man who was in a wheelchair do some exercises to help with, I think, his shoulders. And I remember asking him, "Hey, how's your day going?" He then responded, "I hate you, I hate this place, and I hate everyone here." Wow. Talk about a tough crowd. After that experience, I pivoted to mechanical engineering. My dad is an engineer, and I thought that maybe engineering would be the right route for me. I also loved cars. I wanted to design the next super awesome electric truck. That was my goal. Around that same time, I actually started working at a small startup company called ePipe. At the time, there was only 7 employees. This is where I fell in love with entrepreneurship and software development. It was so cool to constantly be inventing new features for the customers. It was also really cool to see the customer's face light up when you showed this new feature that solved a problem that they've been having for years. I was hooked. After that, I changed my degree to information systems management because I wanted to be more of an entrepreneur, but also have the technical skills as well. I actually wanted to be a software engineer at first because I saw those 3 developers at ePipe and I thought what they were building was sick. I thought it was awesome. They also were the highest paid people in our company, and They had an incredible work-life balance. The company treated them so good. I didn't even know product management existed until I did something called an on-campus internship with a product manager. He wanted to build an app that brought communities closer together by having people in the community set up lessons for other people in the community. It's a lot of communities in one sentence. As a team, there was 4 of us. We set to work going through the entire design process. We started with user stories. We talked about pages to build, the flow we would need to go through, user personas. And then we actually started on Figma and we built an entire prototype. We were able to present this to the CEO of a bigger company near our college. And it was thrilling. It was exhilarating to show a product that we knew solved a problem and talk to the CEO of a company with, I think it was 250 to 500 employees. It was just an awesome experience. It gave me a lot of experience in UI UX design, which I love, and product management as well. And also project management, which is a different story. But this alone helped me to land other internships as a product manager. It's also when I knew I wanted to be a product manager. I put that experience on my resume and applied to over 100 jobs. And I finally landed a product management internship. And it's actually the company I work for right now. They offered me a full-time job. So the internship led to a full-time job and I couldn't be happier. I love the company I work for. It's incredible. Working for a startup is very different than working for a big company, but I highly recommend it. It is a blast. I'm someone who loves to be constantly busy, constantly working on things. And in a startup environment, you're doing that. You wear more hats than you would at a big company. And personally, I feel like you learn a lot as well. All right, so here's my advice. I'm not, a senior product manager. I'm just barely starting out. But if I were going to give you any advice, it would be get experience, build personal products, and apply to a ton of jobs. When you eventually land that first product management job, after you've spent a lot of time building your portfolio and gaining experience, one thing I would say is learn to say no, and also listen intently to your stakeholders and be confident with your decision. If you like this content and you want to learn more about product management, like this video and comment below what you would like to learn more about. I'm always trying to make this channel a better place for those trying to learn about tech, business, entrepreneurship. So if you like this kind of content, help a brother out. Anyways, I appreciate you guys so much. Thanks for watching my video.